August 2nd.
Your mic.
Oh, thank you. Should I do it again?
Go ahead, Jeff.
All right.
There you
Well, I will call to order the regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for Wednesday, August 2nd. Let's see.
go. Roll call.
Roll call. Yeah, I'll call the order. Roll call. I don't see roll call.
Commissioner Bites?
Here.
Commissioner Doherty?
Here.
Commissioner Fidrich is absent. Commissioner Lee?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell is also absent. Commissioner Teeter?
Here.
And Chair Ishibashi.
Here. Okay, now we are on to approval of minutes from the regular meeting on June 7th, 2023. And I was not here for that meeting, so I'm going to abstain. So hopefully all four of you were here.
I was here. I would move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Let's see, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstains?
Yes.
Any noes? All right, thank you.
Okay, it says presentations. Is that accurate? After approval minutes presentations, are we on oral requests? Yeah, are there any oral requests from members of the public for items that are not on the agenda? No. Okay. Any unfinished business? No. All right, new business. Oktoberfest volunteers.
So good evening, everyone. I just want to get a head start on Oktoberfest. So our annual Oktoberfest Fun Run will be on Saturday, October 21st. We will be needing volunteers that week prior to help with stuffing of the goodie bags, as well as on Friday night, passing out the bags at Sports Basement. And we would love for the entire Park and Rec Commission to be present on the day of the event on Saturday, the 21st. So please mark your calendars now and don't book any vacations and come support our upcoming event, and also spread the word to get people to enroll. And that's all I have, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
What is the time? Is that from like what time until what time? The Oktoberfest?
So the fun run will just be on Saturday in the morning. The race starts at 9 and 9:15 maybe.
Okay.
And then it's pretty quick. Yeah. Usually done by about noon.
Okay, caregivers conference.
There we go. Hi. Hi, good evening. Tina Wong Erling, Senior Services Supervisor. I believe I know all of you except for maybe Chair Ishibashi. So good to see you all. Director Bissell has invited me to come talk with you about the Caregivers Count Conference. Those of you that have served on, I think, the Civic Improvement Commission are familiar with this annual conference. We're in our 13th year. I've had the privilege and pleasure to be part of this planning process. And it's a conference that's designed to help family caregivers who are taking care of their aging loved ones. So if you think around about your circle of maybe friends or even neighbors or colleagues, we all may be able to identify someone that's taking care of an older loved one, whether it be their grandparent, their parent, their spouse. I mean, neighbors, some of us help our neighbors out. I know I did for many years. So this is a conference that is designed to educate and support these family caregivers that are unpaid, that are in many cases balancing dual roles. They're working, they're maybe raising young families. So you can only kind of picture, the varied responsibilities that they have. So this conference offers a variety of different topics. You'll see here. This year we have a four-part series, and this actually came about during COVID. We went virtual along with many conferences, and we have 4 topics coming up. starting from September 9th through the 30th, 4 consecutive Saturdays on the 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the topics are making tender memories. That's our keynote speaker. Second topic, I believe, pertains to really all caregivers. This is called anticipatory grief. This is the grief that one experiences before they actually lose somebody. Because a lot of times when you're caring for somebody that's ill, you're seeing them decline, really, even as you're caring for them. The third session we have is kind of a it probably pertains to just certain individuals, but I think it's one that is worthy to address, and that's caring for somebody who may not have cared for you. So I'm sure you know someone, maybe perhaps they weren't close with their parent, but are now in that situation where they're caring for them. And then lastly, this is an important one, effective communication with medical providers. So imagine you're taking your loved one to a medical appointment, just as we do with our kids, and you're advocating for them because sometimes maybe they don't have the cognitive ability to speak for themselves. So all of these topics that we have high quality speakers that we've actually we actually hire through the sponsorships that we raised in order to provide this conference annually. And last year we served 250 people virtually, and the videos are recorded, and we had about 180 views following last year's conference. And we have a website, as you see on the bottom there, caregiverscount.net. And this is a website that contains all the previous conference videos, along with a variety of resources that you can access or share with your family and friends. So I just wanted to come and share this resource, and please help us spread the word. We talk to caregivers all the time. Of course, that is my business. We are in the field of aging services, but I can't tell you how many people I encounter, even in grocery stores, summer concerts, everywhere, that bring up somebody. In fact, I was just talking to our park staff, and he was mentioning taking care of his mom. So there's got to be somebody in your circle that you can share this with, and it's free. It's free. This is a community benefit, and we've gotten wonderful feedback in previous years, and this event was in person prior to the pandemic, and we found that we are able to serve a much larger audience being virtual. So at the present time it continues to be virtual, but we'll look at where we go from here. Any questions about the conference, the topics, the format? Can I send this electronically for the commissioners? Because I know that, I brought it today just so you could have a visual.
Questions, comments?
Sounds very, very worthwhile, though. Yes, I would highly recommend it if anybody needs it. So I know my brother and I and family went quite a few years ago, but it was very helpful. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I think it's great that you're able to go virtual and serve more people. That's 250 people is a great turnout. So
It is. There's always pros and cons. That person-to-person interaction is valuable, but by the same token, caregivers need flexibility. You can imagine if you're taking care of a loved one, if you could just log on to a computer, it's much easier to access than having to drive somewhere to attend a conference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your attention, and thanks again. Have a good evening.
thank you.
Okay, Virginia Park update.
I'm gonna try to talk into the microphone and also look at you. I want you to start the back. Good evening, commissioners. Just an update on Virginia Park. I don't know if any of you have been by. Sherry, you live by there. You can see the new structure is starting to go up. Unfortunately, there's a transfer station. It's actually a bear that's going to go from the lower level to the upper level. If you can remember back from the old drawings, they were missing some brackets when it was shipped. So those brackets have now come in. So the plan is with Miracle Play Systems, they will be back on Monday to start again, putting that piece in and then going ahead and concreting all the pieces in place. We have the little alligator now, bouncy alligator. There's a bouncy pole, and then there's also the butterfly, which isn't out there yet, but that will be put in place, and this will happen next week. Also, we had a little bit of an issue with the amount of real estate that we had for the playground area. Our drawings that they used, that we provided them, were a little bit off. Nobody went in and changed a couple of the curves that were angled on the curves out there. So we lost a little bit of real estate. So they had to adjust some things. So what we had to do is we had to remove a little section of that sidewalk that used to go through the middle. There was a bigger section that was coming out. We had to take out another section and then move it over some. So it should look nice. You just kind of transition over. It's mainly for the fall area. If there was a child on the butterfly, you have to have 6 feet all the way around it. It's kind of a fall zone area, and that concrete, existing concrete before was impeding in that area. So that's already, they're going to be pouring the new concrete tomorrow. That's already formed up. Once the structure's completely in, we have the same company, Miracle, come in and actually blow in all the new 5R. They'll actually add about 6 inches of 5R to where the existing swing set is at, and then they'll add about 12 inches to where the new play structure is at. And that'll finish everything off. We actually have the paint for this existing swing set. It's going to be a green that matches the green in the new play structure. So that'll all be painted to match. And I also ordered last week a new drinking fountain. I don't know if you've noticed the other drinking fountains, the one with the water fill stations.
Yes.
So we have one with the 2 drinking fountains and the water bottle fill station. Unfortunately, that's about 6 weeks out, but that's going to be going in too. So we're anticipating hopefully by the end of August, we are completely done with everything other than probably the drinking fountain, but everything else will be completed. Also, I forgot to add in that we are installing, they're actually building it right now, an ADA compliant entry gate. It's not the one that you enter off the city sidewalk. It's the upper one where you can go up on the pathway, but that's going to be ADA compliant with the push bar on the inside and everything else. So that'll be put into. So other than that, I apologize that it kind of was going real good and then it kind of just stopped, but it was due to the bracket. So hopefully the next 2 to 3 weeks, things are going to look much better. Yes.
A through, what alphabet letters are you losing on the sidewalk there? A through what?
On the section that we took out.
Yes.
Well, those were actually numbers. It was 1.
Okay.
It was
okay.
0, 1, 2, 3, and then it went all the way up to 12. Well, what had happened is there still is a 0, 1 there, but what they did years ago was in front of the sandbox area.
Right.
I guess the concrete was maybe a little slippery. So they used a grinder and they ground out 2 and 3 are, 2 and 3 are gone. Those were gone years ago.
Okay.
And since then, we've actually taken out 5 all the way up to 12. So you have a 0, 1 and a 4.
Okay.
Okay.
That's.
Hopefully kids don't start counting that way. Their parents are gonna go, oh my goodness.
They're gonna go nuts,
Oh,
yeah.
hard time. Yeah, there you go. But that's where
Okay.
that's at.
Good. Just curious. I was just curious.
Does anybody else have any other questions regarding the project out there?
Are you planning on having any kind of launch or groundbreaking, or not, maybe not groundbreaking, grand opening for?
We are planning on what probably we're talking with Bob. We're looking sometime probably in September to do that. We'll
Okay.
have kind of a grand opening where the mayor can be out there and have that. So, yeah, and it should be nice. We're looking forward to it. Yep.
Okay, update on Campbell Community Center turf conversion project.
Okay.
Is that you too? or-
Yeah, that's, so, not sure how many of you are aware of the turf conversion that we're doing at the community center in the, it would be the D and the E and the J and the K wings.
Beautiful. I love the
Oh, good.
vegetation. Yeah.
We had one of our employees, he's actually a lead for parks. He came up with the designs early. His name is Chuck Porter. Originally, when he did the drawings, I had no idea. I had never seen them. And when he showed me those drawings, they were so professionally done. I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, God, we have to do this project. These things are beautiful. And he put a lot of time and effort and worked with me and Bob to get the ball rolling on that. And we were able to also obtain a grant from Valley Water for $37,000 to help with plants and stuff like that out there. So what has happened so far is wing D and E are done, I believe.
K and K, or no,
K-
K and L, they're finishing J
Yeah.
next week.
K and L are done, and they're finishing J right now. They're about a little more than halfway done with that. They'll be done next week with J. And then I'm not sure if you know where M50 is, the entrance to M50 is. There's kind of an area, and there's a, is that a redwood tree there or pine tree? Cedar, sorry. Large cedar tree there. So that area has a little area of lawn there, turf, that's going to be taken out too. That's going to be converted over to drought tolerant plants there, and then there'll be added mulch in there too. So it'll dress up that area, and that'll complete our project off. We have a deadline of September 15th with Valley Water to have everything done to meet all their requirements and be able to then receive the grant of $37,000. But I just wanted to just to let you know about Chuck Porter, our lead guy. He really put a lot, his heart and soul into this thing, and to take the picture and look at it, and then go out there and you look at it and you go, wow, this really does look like this. There's Chuck Porter's out there. We have Brandon Bullen, Scott Hamilton, and Blake Bassetti. Four of them have really, we've had a couple of people help out, but those four main core guys have really put a lot of time and effort into this project. And you're there to
It's
right by your office. So good. I'm glad you like it. And if a chance to go out there and take a peek at it, it's really nice. There's an area you can sit down. There was some trees that were out also put in there. And the seating is mainly for the school students. You know, if somebody's out there, a lot of the schools, they used to go sit on the lawn. So we put these round concrete benches that were out there with decomposed granite area. So they can still use the area if they want to go out there and sit outside. But yeah, very, very nice project. I'm really proud of it.
Should be. It looks wonderful. It really looks good.
Is there any questions on that?
I have a question. Does the 37,000 cover the full cost of like the materials, or is that obviously city time, staff time was going into the
Staff
physical
time.
stuff, but does that,
The staff, all their time came out of our operational budget, which is already approved. It's what they did is they put time in as a time allowed in between their normal maintenance tasks that they had. Bob had them filling in. There were certain days that they could get out there and work on it all day. There was a day that they could only work half day. So the labor was covered by the operational budget. The 37,000, I hate to say, Bob, it's probably covered a good portion of it. I'd say about 75, 80%. So really out of pocket, it wasn't very much for that. And I know this has been a project that I've been here 10 years now, but I've probably heard about the last 5 to 7 years of this turf conversion project, because one of the things too is when it rained and it was heavy rain, it turned into a swamp mud hole out there with the turf, and the kids were walking in and then walking in the classroom. So
They no longer have to mow by offices or classrooms, which is nice.
and then it also cuts down on our maintenance. Our maintenance staff doesn't have to address that, as Natasha was saying, so it makes it nice.
Right.
So Chuck was smart enough. He said, we're gonna do this project, plus I don't have to do as much work.
yeah.
So, great.
Chuck also did, I'm just gonna toot his horn a little bit more. So he did the area in front of the reader board on the corner, and that is always just such a pretty spot, right? Because what it does is, I don't know how, if he planned it this way or whatever, but it goes from like color to color. So right now we're on the yellows and the purples, and then those will die off, and then the reds will come in with the kangaroo paws. So there's always this like new flare of color that kind of pops in and out of that corner depending on the season, which is such a cool thing. So he always does really nice work.
Great. Any other questions? Thank you.
On to committee reports, Parks and Creek Trail.
Well, I must apologize. I've been out and about to other parks outside of the area, so I haven't really gone to many of our parks. Any of the other committee members?
I've been over to John D, which is looking very nice, by the way. And what's the other one?
Campbell?
Campbell.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and that one's looking good too, so.
Good. Well, I drive by there, Campbell, and it's always busy, always. The basketball courts, the playground, it's wonderful. Yep.
Any other questions?
Unfortunately, I haven't been out to parks too much this past month. Yeah.
Okay, I've only been to Campbell Community Center and have not seen, I've not gone deep into the community
Oh,
center
you
to
have
see.
to,
I
you
should go
have
check that
to.
out. I've been around the track, so, but looks great. All right, on to trees. Let's see. Bob's not here, so I don't imagine there's anything on trees that I've heard about.
I haven't heard anything on the tree, so I'm assuming there hasn't been.
Easy enough. Okay, special events. Chair Mitchell is not here.
And I haven't heard of any other than the Oktoberfest that's coming up, so.
But we've all been participating in Parks
Oh,
and
that's
Recreation
right.
Month events.
Yes.
Yeah, and I went to a few of the concerts. They were very well attended, very well organized, just a nice, fun event. But I did want to share that I really appreciated the recreational swim nights. And I think, it's been a very hot summer, like with over, close to 100-degree weather. And I think a few hot nights lined up with rec swim nights. And it was just great to have that opportunity open for residents and for the community. So, yeah, I really appreciated the swim night.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I have to say, I participated with some of the events as well, and everyone was always so complimentary of, we're gonna do this again? Is the city staff gonna sponsor it next July? Because we did the otter pops, we did the cornhole. Ainsley House was open one day. I was over there with another docent. 65 people came through.
Wow.
It was amazing. So our community's coming out and they really do appreciate all these different and varied events. But I know it's so much work every day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who was able to attend. I came to the car show on
Oh,
July 10th,
yes.
and that, the first car show, it really turned out. to
Very
be
well
really
attended.
nice. A lot of nice cars, a lot of people. I talked to Dan Livingston, our captain, police department, and he was really impressed with the crowd. Everybody just really
Yep.
mellow, no problems or anything. So it was a nice turnout.
And they want to come
Go
back.
around, I had a good time.
I would have a comment to that. I was there too. And I think there were about 170 cars there for a first-year car show. That's an amazing number.
Well, and there would have been more, but I heard that they couldn't fit them all in.
That's the trick. I'm not sure they,
So,
so there, I would recommend, and maybe the parks, I raised that with you too, could be one of the ones to look at how we might facilitate some of that car show experience. There were a lot of people there. So I would interpret that as a very positive
Yeah.
community start. Really all I want to say. I'd like to see it next year. I'm presuming it'll be next year. And I know,
Yeah, that's a downtown Campbell Business Association event. It's not us.
That's
And
right.
so
yeah,
that event is solely them, and even moving it to another location, it is not, it doesn't bring the people to the businesses downtown, which
Yeah.
they want. So, and then closing the street costs a lot of money, and so they were trying to avoid having to do those things is how I viewed that. So even doing an alternative location, it prohibits people from going downtown if
Right.
it's not downtown. So,
So it was held in downtown?
yeah, it was in the
Yeah.
parking lot, like where Water Tower Kitchen and Bellagio are.
But 170 cars.
Yeah,
in
They
there?
had it downtown Campbell
downtown.
Avenue.
Oh,
Yeah.
on the main street.
On the
On
main street, they closed
and
off the
we
main
blocked
street,
everything
yeah.
off. I went in I had some friends that I met down there and they were in El Guapos and that place was like a
Yeah.
madhouse. I couldn't believe how many people were in there. So I'm hoping that all the restaurants and everything, it looked like they were getting a lot of.
Yes,
a lot of
they were
business and
benefiting,
stuff
yep.
That was there, but yeah, it was a whole downtown.
Oh,
It was like a
Okay.
regular
So they did
festival.
Close the street.
Yes,
They-
yep.
All Campbell Avenue, the side streets, everything.
all the side streets were closed. The parking lots in some cases were filled with cars. that were
Yes, the one,
Part of the show.
the parking
cars.
lot you're talking about. near El Guapos and Olive Bar.
Oh, behind them, there
Yeah.
folks
Yeah,
parking
yeah.
lot too.
So they
Oh.
really didn't have much more space to.
Although this
stretch
one
it out.
car guy said if they'd park the cars diagonally. it's-
Instead of
That-
parking them in the stalls, that would have.
Exactly. I go, okay, whatever.
I think this first one was kind of a learning
That's good
experience for
practice.
them, and they'll probably make some changes to it.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any comments about?
The July month thing went very well, so. Although I was surprised that there wasn't as many people that came through the museum.
Oh, yeah, on the family from Friday.
Yeah.
It's Friday with summertime is challenging, so.
But other than that, the kickoff event at the community center was great. Lots of little kids.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
I can tell you one of it that didn't have lots of little kids.
Or anyone.
The chalk event had one kid.
Oh. Oh,
That was the
interesting.
big one.
Fortunately, she was a really good chalk artist.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know how we build that for next year, but I'd like to see it next year, and I'd like to see reaching out for more kids somehow. She happened to be a really good
She was
little
good,
artist.
yeah.
though. And my
What was
bet
the,
is she's
was it the
about
day
12.
of the, what day of the week was it?
I mean, we did 31 days of events and some are good and some
Oh.
are bad. We're gonna do a debrief. 31 is not maintainable in the height of summer. It was a
It
definite
was a Sunday.
lofty
Oh,
goal to throw on my team. And when we had 5 new team members, it was,
Over the top, yeah.
it's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
so we're gonna do a debrief meeting and probably pick our favorite 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Focus on those
Yeah.
ones and the ones that did well.
And I should add, I was at the Pride Art Show in front of the,
Oh, the plain art, yeah.
yeah, the
Or
play, I
plein
can't,
air,
that's a
that's
word
it,
I
yeah.
can't say. And there were a lot of people there.
Yep.
They were all serious artists, almost all of them were watercolor. Again, one teenager. And she was a good little artist too. But it was an interesting, I got to be one of the representatives there. And it was very much worth going. Enjoyed the artists. So I'd like to see that one added too. You had people coming in who weren't from Campbell particularly. There were about 3 or 4 people that were from outside the Campbell City area. So I'm not sure how they heard about it, but they were participating in the show. And we had everybody line up at the end and show their artwork. And there are pictures of that. If you need that, I can help you get some.
I think they took them, yeah.
And also the young girl with her. She decided, she had a face drinking a Coke. Wasn't a Coke though. It really was a drink, but the design was the tower, water tower.
Whoa.
And
Oh,
so
that
she
was
had
really
managed to make
For the
it
chalk
and
art, yeah.
incorporated it into which was a creative piece of
Yeah.
art.
All right. I think we're on to staff reports, parks. Got a new microphone here. Do you have to push it to
No,
make it
it's
green? I
fine.
think it's on. It's on. Oh, good evening, everybody. Thanks for showing up and listening to a few quick items. I want to let you know that your hard work has paid off in one instance, and that is Hyde Park is now complete. If you remember, quite some time ago, a plan was presented to show how we can add some additional features to Hyde Park. And then we've been quietly working in the background to make that happen. So now when you take a walk over to Hyde Park after getting an ice cream at the creamery or what have you, you'll see 5 new standalone play features. And in addition to our swing set, which is incredibly popular, I was out there the other day and there was a mom there with young kids pushing two kids at once. And then you take them out of the swing and let them play with all the other features. And I think it really came out well. She was super happy, the feedback that I got from her. And that little spot gets used more than people might think. So the community is definitely excited about that.
I heard somebody say that John Morgan Park looks very well, right? I agree. We're working very hard out there. And some of you may know that the state of California has asked municipalities and others to try and use as much compost as we can, compost and mulch. I guess there's quite a bit of it, and they want to spread it out into the community, sequester carbon. It also builds the soil. And so in the past, we would put down mulch for weed control and water retention. And we still do that. But there's a third feature now, which the state is focusing on, which is feeding the soil. So in the past, you put down the mulch, keep the weeds, keep the water. That was good enough. They're asking now, put even more. So when you go out to John Morgan Park, you'll see a pilot program that we've started where around the mature trees, or actually all the trees, we're placing anywhere from really, depending on how big the trunk is, 3 feet to 8 feet of mulch, about so thick. It's jet black, looks really nice. And the intention is all the above: water, weeds, and feeding the soil. The soil at John Morgan Park is, it's a little bit tired out. It's had a long life, and we're doing our part to replenish it. So that's a little bit what's going on. We're going to see how it works out over a little bit of time, and probably move that program over to other areas. So there's that. Any questions? Okay. Hey, one of the items that Ron touched on was the community center corridors. And one of the ways we were able to get this work done was from the hard work of Alex Mordwino. He was tirelessly looking for equipment for us. What do you need? When do you need it? Why do you need it? And then he'd go fight for funding. So we have this item called a dingo, which looks like a little tractor with treads, not wheels. And you stand on it and you have little controls. And what's amazing about it is you can put all kinds of attachments. We have a loader for moving heavy materials. We have a scraper for scraping soil and debris away. We have a trencher, and all these items can be switched in and out in literally minutes. And we've been using that over at the community center every day while this project's going forward. So I just want to show you that when you spend some money on some equipment, there's some fruit down the road. And Ron's going to hate this, but to his credit, he also just recently has sourced a backhoe unit for the dingo, which will be very helpful. That's for digging holes or trenches or what have you out there. And he also sourced a stump grinder attachment for the dingo. And we're very appreciative of that in the Parks Department. And that should help us get more work done quicker and easier. So we're really using that little dingo up. Just on a kind of end on a little bit different note, we are getting a lot of people in the parks. They are busy, and we're getting all types of different folks. And you guys can put this together, but we've decided to graffiti coat the restrooms at the community center, at Campbell Park. That's just an aside. It's kind of let you guys figure out what that's all about. And that's my report out. Any questions or concerns?
Okay, I got one question. I'm not sure how applicable this is to Campbell, but where I work, my day job, like we've, in the past, I understand it, like grant funds, you typically can't buy equipment, but we sometimes rent equipment and then we buy it at the end of a project using grant funds to rent it. And it kind of pushes the cost down on some of the equipment we buy, mainly like mini excavators and that type of stuff, which are what we use. I don't know if the city has projects that are long enough duration to where that makes sense, but it's a tool that we've used because if sometimes we're building a trail or something, it takes, a year or something, we'll rent a piece of equipment, then we'll just buy it on the back end after we've kind of discounted it, if you will, using grant funds. So just kind of an innovative thing that I thought was kind of neat.
In the past, do a couple items. Actually, the excavator attachment the normal regular price on it was about $18,000 for this attachment.
Yeah.
So Bob went to
Tree conference.
a tree conference, and there was a gentleman there from Caline Equipment. And Bob was explaining to him we'd like to purchase a backhoe attachment for that. He said, we happen to have one that kind of has been there. We haven't been able to sell it. It's brand new, and we got it for $10,000.
Oh,
So
wow.
we saved quite a bit of money on that. And what we're doing on a lot of that equipment we're buying, we're going through the Sourcewell program, which goes ahead and starts, they go out and bid things out so they get the lowest prices, and we're able to get on that Sourcewell program. The city's part of that program. So on the the actual stump grinder attachment, we were able to get that a lot cheaper. I think that was only about $6,000. And we purchased through the Sourcewell program also a sweeper attachment for our it's our Mustang. It's almost like a Bobcat. It looks like a Bobcat. So we were able to get a new sweeper attachment through that program too. So we try to go through, and where I used to work before in heavy construction, that's how we bought a lot of stuff. You bought it, you rented it it was brand new, you rented it for 6 months and go, okay, we'd like to buy it now. Can we get a discount price? And that's the way you bought a lot of equipment.
Yeah, no, it works.
Found out, do I really need this piece of equipment, and is it going to be helpful to? And what we try to do, and I know Bob is on it too, is we don't really try to go out and buy a piece of equipment until we find out if we really need it. What we'll do is we do rent from a tool shed. We'll go out, we do rent like mini excavator, or we'll rent a stump grinder. A lot of theirs was with the Dingo with the attachment, and we go, wow, this really works so much better than what we have in-house. We have a small unit. So we try to go out and at least test these things to make sure we buy them and we're going to use them, not to buy them and then have them sit for.
Yeah, sounds like you guys are on it. I've just
Yeah, we try to.
something that that we've done.
But yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. That happens all the time.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Recreation and Community Services.
So we did talk about Park and Recreation Month. It was a huge success, in my opinion. Our team, they did an outstanding job making this happen. This was a big lofty goal that I threw out for them, and they kind of jumped in full force and made it a reality. So I'm very proud of our team. We really expanded our presence on social media, almost doubled the number. We kind of consumed the Youth Commission's Instagram and took that over, which already had a following, and then we almost doubled the number of followers. So we're almost to 1,000 followers on Instagram. Really neat stuff that she's been putting out. And then NRPA, which is our National Recreation Park Association, they've also like reshared our things or commented on our stuff or added snippets of ours into their daily reel, or I don't even story or whatever you call it. I don't actually do it. So that part's been very exciting that our national organization is also watching what we're doing and pushing it out as well. But a few highlights: the family themed swim nights were a huge success. So that was something new. Our new aquatic specialist, it was her idea to kind of add those in, and I thought it was wonderful. So I will be sure to share that that was something you enjoyed as well. But they were well attended and fun for families to come out, especially because of those hot nights. It is nice. The Touch a Truck event was also a really nice event. I was very worried bringing out city resources to a parking lot, not knowing if people would show up, but it was like magically all these families and kids just arrived, and it was an amazing event. I did learn we need to have a garbage truck and an ambulance as well. So next year we will expand that truck event, but that one was very well received from the community. The Ainsley House Garden Concert was also another well-attended one that was not something we knew about. It was an Indian cultural event. They had about 90 people show up to that in the gardens, which was also very nice. Tuesday trivia, they had 70 people engaging with them online throughout the day to do the Tuesday trivia. So again, another major win, and not something where it was in person and present. And the Ainsley House tours, we had about 65 people on that Saturday when it was free. Compared to Sunday, there were 7 people who showed up. So the volume of people who came through on the free day was great. Yoga in the park, we had about 25 people sign up for that. Free Otter Pop Day was also a lot of fun to see those. And then the plein air, like you had mentioned, that's where people come out. And you've probably seen them where they set up their easel and they're canvas and they paint something. You often see them in front of the Ainsley House. They'll set up, but we did it in front of the Heritage Theater. Pat Jimenez, who is one of our art teachers through the Adult Center, was out there. He shared it with his group of people as well. So that's probably why we had people from all over. So it was through his network that he helped share it. He ended up framing his photo, his painting, and bringing it in for us. And it's an excellent painting. So a very cool event, something that I never knew what it was actually called. So it was nice to kind of incorporate that. Our goal was to do events that were diverse, that kind of really showcase the wide variety of programs and services we offer as a department, how we help build community, how our community center kind of acts as that central location, and then to kind of expand our presence on social media and the engagement that we have. And I feel like we did all of those things. And so next year, I will not make my team do 31 days, but I want to keep this mixed bag of things that kind of connect with our community in a variety of different ways, and not just for children or not just for seniors or that kind of thing. So we thank you guys for your support and showing up and participating in our events. Really appreciate it. It was nice for my team to get to meet some of you socially and kind of in an event type setting, just to kind of get to know you as a person as well. So we appreciate your support. I will say the one bust was the chalk art. However, this is the coolest story I've had in a long time. I showed up at 8:15, the event started at 9. I put out all the barricades, and our parking lot is generally very trashed. And so I went into the skate park and I went into the office and I grabbed a bucket and the pinchers, and I come out and there's a gentleman picking up trash with his bucket and pinchers. And I said, "Good morning, are you a volunteer?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Are you a volunteer?" I said, "No." I go, "I'm the director here." And I go, "Do you do this regularly?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Do you live nearby?" He goes, "No." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "What?" I go, "What prompted you to do this?" He goes, "I just really enjoy this track and I come out here a lot and I just felt like I needed to give back. So I figure every couple of days I come out and I help clean up your parking lot." And I thought that was a cool thing. He doesn't even live in Campbell, but he loves the track and he loves our community center, and he worked our whole parking lot cleaning up stuff. So it was such a cool thing to kind of on a day where our event was a total bust. So our fall activity guide, it was mailed out last week, so you should have got that in your mailbox. Our registration for residents will be next Tuesday, August 8th, and we'll open for everyone on Wednesday, August 9th. The Heritage Theater, we have 2 shows that are currently booked and out publicized. One of them is Tower of Power. They're doing a holiday show on December 16th. It is pretty much already sold out. So they did a pre-sale. I think there's less than 100 seats left. The other show that the Heritage Theater will be showing is on November 2nd, they're doing a live screening of Napoleon Dynamite. And then afterwards, they will have the actors who played Napoleon, Pedro, and Uncle Rico on stage for an audience interactive. So from other buildings that have done this, we've heard it's done really well and they really engage with the people. So it should be an interesting, if you're a Napoleon Dynamite fan, we might get a llama for pictures, who knows. Well, we have, huh?
What is that?
When is it?
Yeah.
November 2nd, it's a Thursday night, yeah. We'll be having more shows announced soon as they can finalize the contracts with the artists. And then we're looking to do a bigger name for our 20th anniversary show in February. So there should be a larger, bigger named artist coming in the building, as well as some sort of like VIP, not VIP, an extra ticket to do like hors d'oeuvres and drinks and stuff, before or after the show. We're not sure. We haven't figured it all out, but it's coming. Our summer programming, it wraps up this week. So it was a huge success. We are out of COVID completely. Our camps have been booming. Our day camps, sports camps, specialty camps, and our swim lessons were pretty much booked all summer. So we're finishing those up. The expanded hours for our recreation swim was well received. I personally have always wanted them to be longer because it feels like that's what you should be doing if you're a community pool. So that was also, it was like 4 hours on the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. So it was really nice. Senior nutrition program, as I shared the last time, they recently received grant funding for a refresh of the space, and that work has been completed. So there's new paint, new flooring. They now have the round tables and new chairs. The program is going gangbusters. They serve anywhere from 60 to 75 patrons a day in there. So it's been very, very busy. And with that, I don't have anything else. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'd like to make an observation.
Absolutely.
I was at the touch truck event. And I helped get the fire engines in there a little bit because they were late. But one of the really striking things was I had pictures of, and I took a couple of those too, just families lined up all over the place. And kids were very proactive, but the fire department was really, really exceptional. They let them go through the back inside of the fire truck. And then they kind of stood there. And I got them at the back and had them take a picture of themselves, the moms or whoever was there. If they want to take a picture, they have pictures of their kids from the back of the fire truck. And I was really struck, those families were high in number, but they also were having a great time just being close to those vehicles.
Yep.
And the fire department guys were really cool because there was one gentleman there that was showing the equipment they did. And just, he was busy the whole time in that, and they all were. And I was so busy, I couldn't get to go see hardly any of the other rigs.
I feel like they all did really good. I know that the Bearcat, they were letting them walk through and they could stick their head out the top, and same, the line for the backhoe at the end was like super long. The kids, because they let them go all the way up and like sit in there and come out the other side. And so, yeah, I was very proud of that event. It turned out well.
It's a good event.
Nice.
It was good. My daughter, actually, my youngest daughter, who's 30, seen the pictures of the whole event, and she was saying, wow, there was a lot of kids that turned out, but she was upset with me because she said, Dad, why didn't you tell me? Because I could have went out and seen those firemen. So I go, next time I'll let you know. But she couldn't believe either how many.
Make sure that's in the minutes.
For almost the whole time, for the fire truck, almost the whole time, there was a line extending of parents and their kids. So, and it was probably 50, 60 feet long at the minimum until the very late part of the afternoon. And then there were still lines of kids going through. And they'd spend a little bit of time in there. I didn't get to see that part. They'd get in there and they'd stay in there a bit and then they'd come out. Some stayed in there quite a bit of time.
Well, I regularly take my son to look for trucks and and equipment. So I think if you all could put on that event again, I think it would be
That one's
very
definitely
much
gonna
appreciated.
return, yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the game, I believe is where we're at. I think we covered a little bit of that stuff. Does anyone have anything else?
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna continue raving about Parks and Recreation Month. But I'm on Reddit, which is like an online forum. And there was a conversation about like someone wants to move to Campbell and they're, wondering how it is. And there was a huge thread about people talking about how many great events there are and how many community events. And someone was like, just follow Parks and Recreation on Instagram. That's where you find out all about it. And so it's the words getting out there. I think it was really successful, and and with social media, it's the words getting out there. So congratulations.
Okay.
No, except I noticed that the grasses in some of the parks are just really, like they're almost magically green again. And I don't think it's just magical. I'm just recognizing.
That's Bob and his crew working hard at it.
Great job.
They get all the credit for that.
I don't know how long those concerts have been going on, but that was the first concert I've gone to.
What, really?
Yes,
Oh, like
I was
30
what
years.
was most impressive to me, obviously people have like amazing spreads that they bring. to the
I know.
stage, right?
That's
But how many city staffs are actually there? Like people were coming out of everywhere.
Well,
And
so
I'm like,
the one you were at was special. So that was the last night of the event. So there was, I think, 3 people working the event. but then my whole team was there just to be together.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
they were just hanging out, and then there was the city council meeting and it had let out, and so
Okay, I don't know,
they
it
had
was
all
just like,
come
there
out.
were like city people everywhere.
Yeah.
Crazy, like they always come to these things like
Yeah.
with numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So.
well, it was a good event.
And
Last
so
one
many
is-
people
The last one's
dancing.
this Thursday, so.
Oh, okay.
So come on out,
Yeah.
because we'll be selling wine and beer for the Ainsley House.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've never been.
All right, anything else? No?
I have a picture of the little kid that did the chalk contest, if you'd like to see it.
I do want to see.
Because it's a great picture.
Well, then we will adjourn this meeting and looks like the next meeting is September 6th.